So, hi, it's oh, sorry, my phone's gone. Right. Well done. And it's the 24th of November, and today's guest is. Oh, it's not coming through, is it? Oh, it is. Sorry, you just can't see the edge. Today's guest is JP. Hello, JP. Sorry, I thought I'd done that all wrong. I was watching something else. Sorry. Welcome to Geeks on Screens with Coffee. Are you drinking coffee? What are you drinking?
So on my side, I'm actually,
Oh,
yeah.
what? Sorry, which SQL Saturday is that?
That is the Johannesburg one from 2nd of September 2017.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going to go behind the scenes on this one. I think we're going to go a bit meta. So I don't know whether. Oh, look, we've got a few people playing and watching. All right. Oh, look, Evening Mark and JP from Daniel. So now, can you see that's appearing on the bottom?
Yes,
I
I can
managed
see
to
that.
fix that. Please don't say anything rude. Thank you, Daniel. Daniel's having water. We can just have a whole discussion about what people are drinking. Then we're gonna have the whiteboard. Don't know why I put it in front of the mic.
It's actually difficult getting people to spell JP correctly. If you try to order pizza and you say, okay, well, I order this, and okay, what's your name? So JP, and that's okay, JAYPE. So no, that's an abbreviation of Jean Pierre. Oh, sorry, John. So no, not John. Stick with the weird JP spelling.
Well,
I'm good with that.
do you not find that it's easier? So why do you? Is it just easier to go with JP rather than Jean Pierre? Do you not like it, or is it just too difficult?
Super easy. Yeah, it's so much easier. People mess up Jean Pierre so badly.
Yeah, I guess it. But I guess one of the things is, um, do you need to know you really well? Oh, we're going to hide. Though I've really messed up that chat thing, haven't I? I don't know if you can see it. We're just hiding now behind chat. Sorry, Daniel, if you keep putting more in, you're going to hide JP's face completely. All right, let's see if we can do that. That might be a bit better. I've gone really bad on. I had the reverse before, and now I've gone terrible on the transparency. But if I make it just a tiny bit smaller, it's it's difficult to know whether you're being too informal if you call you JP. That's all.
Yeah, no, it's just because people mess up Jean Pierre so much. I've been since primary school going on JP.
Oh, okay. And for those who don't actually look at the clapperboard, it does have your name on it, but I also put little jokes on it. So I think it says director on it. Oh yeah, you're looking on a different camera, but I've just put directory inquiries. That's a director, and camera is off. The scene is OBS or OBS. No, maybe I. No, okay.
That was that awkward silence.
Um,
Okay.
wait, hold on. You know what this? Sorry, we can just have like. Oh yeah, sorry. If I do, right. Alex flying across. 5. That's a cricket. You can't hear that, but people online can. But I couldn't work out how to do get that to feed back into OBS. I've got my little crib sheet of what all the function keys do. You can't read that from there, but
No.
but if it just tells me what F1, F2, F3 does.
I can tell you what F1 does. Help.
Well, F1 does this. This one is F2, and when we were on F1, no one could hear us. And then we're back on F3.
Oh, okay, generally F1 gets you to help page.
No, it gets you completely off. Oh, we've got some more people watching. Okay, so you know when you said people don't mess up JP? Yeah, right.
And you managed to get that right.
You know, that's actually one of the easiest ones I've had to do.
There's not a lot of letters on that board.
You know, you know what you could have said? Oh, like, do you know what we need to do? Is that no? Which one do you prefer, J-P?
No,
Or
no, don't hyphen it. Yeah, that's good.
all right. I can chuck those away now. Welcome. Sorry, we were just rambling. Welcome, JP.
Thanks, Mark.
Do you want to tell people who you are and what you do? I mean, I don't know a huge amount about you. I know you run the is it the user group in Joburg?
Yes, so I run the data platform user group in Johannesburg. Actually, didn't start it, but it's been going for, I think, 12, 13 years now. That is also a very interesting thing. That's something I do regularly forget, and it has happened once or twice, because you were talking about forgetting stuff. And I did learn the hard way. It is possible to arrange a user group meeting and forget to arrange speakers. It is completely possible, because we have such a dedicated group of individuals that come. So we're regularly around 40 to 60 people that rock up. So it's just on the clock that everyone just rocks up there. So yes, it has happened once or twice that we forgot to arrange a speaker or two.
How can you forget? I mean, whose job is it to arrange the speakers?
Definitely not mine, I'm pretty sure. So we've learned to quickly come up.
I mean, there's like the one job, and I've managed to mess. Like we were talking before we went online that I've managed to do this and forget to broadcast it. You know, I've got one job.
Oh yes, that was what we were talking about. You forget to broadcast your own live stream.
Yes, one job, because I'm so focused in doing kind of getting this running and making sure everything is all ticked and stuff is done that you just go, oh, that little button that says go online. Oh no. Yeah, I'll never live it down.
But over the years, we've gotten really good at quickly getting a presentation or something together. Just ask someone to MC for you for a second or two, so that you put something together to not waste people's time. Because we had speakers that literally walked out of the room 5 minutes before they were up, before it was their turn to start talking. So it was quite interesting.
So do you have lots of different speakers? So do you attract them from like a big distance? I mean, I don't know what the data community like is in Johannesburg or just in South Africa in general.
It's quite large. It's not that difficult to get people speakers here.
And
I don't think it's that difficult. It's difficult to get international people because it's quite a long flight. It's expensive, and so generally on our SQL Saturdays we'll try and book the Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban SQL Saturdays a week apart from each other, so that all the if there's international guys coming through, that they can do at least 2 or 3 SQL Saturdays.
Yeah. So how do you Oh, what, you try and put all the SQL Saturdays together?
Yes.
Oh, so I think it's
Remember, South Africa is big. It's not
Yes, I guess. And then they just tour around.
Yes.
So I thought so. What we do in the UK, because we are a tiny country, is we'll put the user groups on consecutive nights, and people can travel like between them. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know much about South Africa. I know, well, 2 things, but I can't say the first one. But the main one is how dangerous it is, or allegedly dangerous, especially Johannesburg. Has a reputation of being quite dangerous.
I would say that I don't know. There's certain places you don't go. It's like going looking for trouble. So
if you were a stranger in the country and you were just walking around a bit of a city, could you easily stumble into trouble?
We don't walk around the city here. You get you get in your car, you go where you want, and you go back. Why do you want to go walking around?
So I was in Lagos, was it last year or the year before, for work? And they arranged for a car to pick you up from the airport, and you have a driver a week. And I said to the guy, right, it's pretty safe here. And they went, yeah, it's pretty safe. Don't worry about it. It's completely safe here. So I said, I can walk down to, there's a sort of a beach, sort of 10 minutes away from the hotel. I can walk down to the beach. No, you can't walk down to the beach. No, you have to have the driver. But it's perfectly safe here, isn't it? Yeah, no, it's perfectly safe. No problem. But I can leave the hotel, can't I? Oh, of course you can leave the hotel, but don't leave the hotel.
I think it's more here in South Africa, it goes down to our unemployment rate. So I think there's like 47%, something, don't quote me on that figure, please, is unemployed. So burglary, so petty theft and those things are very, very high, which is sort of understandable.
Yeah. And, I mean, generally you're not going to get into too much trouble, but it was kind of like, I think I was in where was I? I was somewhere else in Africa. It was on the west coast, but I could walk around in the evening, and I was walking around and stuff. In fact, a taxi was supposed to pick me up, and I just walked to the kind of 2 miles back to the hotel.
I've actually never been to any other African country. I've been to Europe, been to America, but never been outside of South Africa and Africa.
Is that just not a common thing?
It's sort of like if you want to do like overlanding, we would set to do a nice overlanding tour this year, June, but for some or other reason all the borders closed. So then you would go Botswana, Mozambique, Namibia. Those are quite popular overlanding destinations. And if you want to go to the beach for a nice body, and you want to go out of the country, Mozambique is apparently good. Never been. All I know is that you have to have a lot of tip money, if you want to call it that.
Oh, yeah.
You tip the officers at their roadblock just to thank them for their service.
Yeah. I think that there are. Can't remember. I had an interesting time at the airport. I don't think I've told this story online, but I didn't quite have the right visa, and you have a handler. So the guy who picks you up from the airport was late and stuff. So I was kind of sitting around going, well, this is the one I was told to have, and no, it's not the right visa. You can't come in. I'm sort of waiting in some waiting room, and then they take me walk me through the airport, out through security, just walk me, just not checked by anything, with my bag, and they take me to this guy's office, and it really was, he was the comptroller of the airport, and some official, because he had like the big flags and stuff, but it was a massive oak desk. If you imagine, it was like a comedy sketch. Every single stereotype of you would imagine like a dictator having, kind of like sitting there with the cap on in the uniform and stuff. And he mentioned, I think it was appreciation needs to be shown. I think it was the term.
Yeah. And then other cool thing we have here is our awesome generosity in how we share turns to use electricity.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that because I wasn't sure whether this was going to go ahead because of your load shedding. And I think for people outside South Africa, this might be quite an interesting concept to have.
Yeah, so we have a very cool, a very nice system where actually our power utilities don't want us to use the power that they generate, because I don't think they can generate enough. So probably one of the only business models where they don't want the consumers to use what they actually produce. So every now and again, we'll go through when they take the generating units offline for maintenance and stuff. They'll have to take, let's say, 1,000 megawatts or 2,000 megawatts offline. So that will take us through levels. We have 8 levels, so it can take us all the way to 8,000 megawatts offline. So that means, depending on city, municipality, wherever. So I'm in Pretoria. That means I lose power for 2.5 hours a day. That I do not have power if you're on the load shedding schedule 1. And as you go up, the schedules or up the levels, you lose power for quite a bit longer. Can go up to 3-4 times a day that you lose for 2.5 hours.
Ooh, how does that? How do you? I mean, it just sounds. How do you survive? I guess, I presume you've got air conditioning and other things like that keeping you cool. So that's all off. I mean, you've got batteries, solar power, wind power. Do you kind of supplement with that?
So yeah, at my place, so I actually only moved in a couple of months ago, 3 months ago. So the first thing I did was install solar geyser, gas stove, gas oven, so that you get hot, warm water, can cook your food, backup battery lights, and then what's else? Generator, and then UPS on the router, because that's all that you can need is lights and something to keep you busy. So as long as the router is on, all's good.
The router's on. You've got a phone. You've got a laptop. You're fine. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That's all you need.
Yeah. So do people actually then install their own generators, or?
That's very common. That's very, very common. So every shop you go to, you can go to buy a generator. I'm pretty sure. So this morning I went to the barber because I was trying to figure out, should I just use the crappy camera or should I actually go and do something to make my hair look decent? And while sitting, I'm not pointing towards you. And while sitting there, you see the guys the store next door just buy generator after generator. And then you get so distracted by the guy telling you, "Oh, this is my first day on the job. What can I do for you?" So, is there someone else that can help me? Maybe.
Would you go for one big generator, or do you go for lots of little I presume they're petrol generators.
So the best to go is more diesel generators, because you go for power for without power for quite some time. So petrol works out quite expensive. Petrol is not cheap.
Okay.
So the diesel are more efficient.
Oh, okay. All right. That's interesting. So, are you still scaring your neighbor by telling him that your cameras outside your house are infrared and can see inside his house?
So that was more of as I moved in there, all of the neighbors around me, very, very friendly people, came to me and said, "Okay, no, if you need anything, please call me. If you need anything, please call me. Here's my number, everything." And everyone started warning me about my one neighbor, some grumpy old man, taking everyone to court for erecting little huts on their property or shade carports and all those things. So as I was installing my cameras, I just started. One neighbor asked, "So, don't point it that way. That guy will take you to court for it." So, "No, but his wall is up there." And I saw the guy out there, and I said, "No, I can. His wall is up there, so he'll just think that the wall is blocking my view, but he doesn't know it's an infrared camera and can see through the walls." So I haven't gotten any letters yet. So I haven't been taken to court yet for invading of his privacy, but that would be a fun discussion to have with a judge.
Is that a common thing, getting taken to court for, or is that just him?
No, that's just him. That's just someone that's bored.
It just seems like a lot of effort to do that. Yeah. Thinking the load shedding is sorry. Is someone's put up to say that load shedding is implemented so the government can reach their Paris climate accord goals? Really? Is that? I mean, just do what the Americans did and just say we're not part of it anymore.
Yeah, no, I would love to say it's something. No, we are trying to be more environmentally conscious. That's not the case. Normally, when we struggle to generate electricity and stuff, with the power utilities switch over to massive diesel generators to make up for the load. But that costs a fortune to run a country on that kind of generating power.
Well, yeah, it would be. Yeah, be
Mm.
just prohibitively expensive. I mean, I guess. I mean, I assume oil's not a natural. Is that not a natural resource for? Because I mean, South Africa isn't known for oil. Diamonds, yes, but not oil.
I actually don't know. So I honestly don't know. I've never seen an oil mine here, or rig, or drill. I'm
Yeah,
not
well, I
sure.
mean, they're not common. I mean, you generally would have to, if they were offshore, they would be hidden away. You know, they'd be several miles. You wouldn't be able to see them. I mean, it's not like you can go to the coast here and like do this and see where the oil rigs are. Because I know there are oil rigs out on the North Sea, which is just we can just which isn't very far from here. You know, the helicopters go from our local like little airport, um, which is kind of weird because you see the it's roughneck's kind of a good term. I think maybe that just seems like a bad term. Yeah, people working on their oil rigs. I think maybe I picked that up from a movie. That seems like a wrong thing to do. But just waiting there, kind of they'll get on the helicopter, they'll go to work, and then they stay out there for a few days and come back on the helicopter. Seems like a fun way to get to work though.
That seems fun. I've always seen so I work in our offices is in Sandton, and so that is like one of the, I think it's classified as the richest square mile or something in South Africa. I'm not exactly sure how they classify it, but you always see a lot of these companies, the CEOs and stuff, coming for meetings and stuff in the helicopters, and I'm sitting there in rush hour traffic, 2 hours to get home. And I said, that is not fair. Took you less time to travel between cities than it takes me to get home.
Yeah, I guess whenever we see a helicopter, it will be a rescue helicopter. It won't be it won't be a passenger helicopter. So you wouldn't be going, yeah, no, I'd like to be in there. No, because you're going to the local hospital. I'm just admiring your background because you've got some funky lights going on. You've got some guitars in the background. You a bit of a guitar
Oh yes,
freak?
I'm a freaking expert.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I would have played for Blink-182 if there were more strings than buttons on the Guitar Hero guitars there.
Do you want to? Is the camera movable? I want to see your soundproofing.
That I won't be able to get the camera to.
Oh, okay, all right.
When didn't I take a picture of it?
Yeah, you did.
Where's
That's
that
what I've
pic?
got. So JP sent me a picture of his soundproofing, which is very old school soundproofing.
This is actually on my wall at the moment.
And if you can't see what that is, that's egg boxes, which is kind of like when I was growing up in the 80s, that would be the kind of the pirate radio station kind of would have egg boxes for soundproofing and sound dampening, not really soundproofing.
Yes, because my little office here in the back of the house is very echoey. So brought in all the pillows from all the couches in the house. It's all scattered all around here. My wife will miss them soon. Couple of my daughter's teddy bears.
Are they're in there for you, not for sound dampening?
Sure, that's to comfort me when I have a hard day.
Well, to take your stresses out on.
Yes.
Give them a good pummeling. What are those like orange and black things on top of the book of the
Oh,
shelving
there.
unit?
That is little. I saw on there's this. I love 3D printing stuff. So I saw on this one side thingy, there's this little drawers We put in stuff like screws and stuff, and I started printing them. I must say the picture was a lot bigger than the outcome, but because I'm not sure what you put in that.
I mean, they could be for jewelry. That's quite small, and
Yeah, that's probably.
but I mean, it depends
But
on the size of your 3D printer, though. Really, I would have thought. I mean, how big can you print up to?
on mine, it's about. So I'm not. It's a 20 by 20 by 20 centimeters. So it's
That's
quite a
pretty
box.
substantial, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a box.
I know nothing about 3D printing. So is that obviously there's an outlay on the printer, and then there's an outlay on the material it prints in. But is that then quite expensive to keep running?
So the actual plastic that you buy is actually dirt cheap, and a lot of the newer makes and models is more biodegradable. Sorry, English is not my first language. I'm running out of English here. Um, the,
What actually? So what is your first language?
Afrikaans.
Um,
So I think I've spoken to you about this before. You would have seen that on what's that show, Lucifer, that TV show,
yeah.
with that girl. She was talking in, I think, Britain, Halish or something they called it, the language that they speak now, and that was just Afrikaans. It was pure Afrikaans that she was talking.
Is that? I presume that's an in joke in the series that hell is in hell people speak Afrikaans.
It must be, but I also think they've chosen it because it's an actual language, and I think it's one of the youngest languages in the world. So there's not a lot of people okay. There's quite a lot of people. I think there's the last time I read, I think it's like 15 or 20 million people that speak it, but it's a big number, but not really big in comparison to other languages out there.
Well, we have some languages in the UK. There's Gaelic, Irish, there's Welsh, and that must be millions, under millions of people that speak it. It's very, there was a whole point when those sort of languages were going extinct because no one was learning them in school, and so it was only the older generation that knew it, but they've kind of tried to turn that around. But so actually, teach me something. All right, embarrass me. Teach me something. Obviously, nothing too obscene. What would be an interesting phrase in Afrikaans? Now, obviously, some of your friends are watching, so they will let me know if it is rude.
Oh, joy, that doesn't make it easier.
Why is Afrikaans just full of swear words?
I think that's the basis of Afrikaans. That's what makes it such a fun language.
Sounds and because the k sound is very short, and it's used in swear words.
Yeah. So, for example, so if you were to say something in line of, okay, so looks like we're not going to sit without power tonight. It's more in line with lyk nie of ons vanaand sonder krag gaan wees nie.
That doesn't sound okay. I'm just well, your grandmother is listening.
Well, that's not a lie.
Well, there is a very high chance that my mum is listening, who's on Facebook at the moment. Yeah, that could be her watching.
Like I said, I invited everybody I know, my grandmother, my dad, my boss, that didn't understand the point of what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, this is a bit of. Hold on. Sorry. Keep talking, and I'm going to. This is just going to make an awful noise.
But you actually didn't repeat the sentence that I tried to teach you. Not a very good teacher, but
no, I then tried to avoid it just in case it was rude. Oh, okay, yeah. So Dutch. So Dutch is old. Is 2,000 years older than English, and Afrikaans is 80% Dutch. Oh, so it could be argued that Afrikaans is older than English. Well, I mean, English is just made up of other languages, really, isn't it? It's just stealing stuff from French, German. There's Old English. There's anything that can be absorbed in is taken into English.
That is true. On a side note, something that I found earlier today, and that's completely irrelevant to what we've been talking about. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the Castle of Good Hope. So we don't have a lot of castles here in South Africa. So that is one of the first castles that was built in Cape Town, which is sort of not in the middle of the city, but it's quite inland. It's like, I think, 2-3 kilometers inland. And I read a fact this today that says in 1680, when it was built, the ocean was actually hitting its walls. It's now 3 meters above sea level. How does that happen?
I don't know.
It moved away from the ocean. I don't think someone picked it up and moved it.
Unlikely, but it's still possible because that has been done with buildings where they have been like taken apart brick by brick. But that would be. I thought the sea level was going to be rising more than lowering. That's interesting.
I just found it interesting. I have to do a lot more research, but I did find it fascinating.
Yeah, seems very strange. So you've been playing with OBS? Actually,
Oh yes.
Sorry, we got distracted. I was going to go back to there is no particular plate tectonic, to this. It is just some social interaction and some fun. That was the idea. And so I used to have a podcast and I would interview people and we talk about the technical stuff. And it's quite fun. But there are other technical podcasts out there. And then I started to do this again. And then I went, wait a minute. It's really hard to actually arrange a time to talk to people. We got this pandemic. Everyone's at home. Wait a minute. Everyone's at home.
Right. No one can run away.
Yeah, they can't say they're busy because they're at home. So that's, and part of it was just the ability to have people there on tap, and kind of so I think so it's just like a bit of social interaction, a bit of kind of carrying on that stuff that we would talk to each other if we did meet each other, at the coffee machine, or in a pub or whatever. And a social, what would you chat about if you hadn't seen someone for a little while? You might chat. You wouldn't necessarily talk about SQL or work. You chat about how you were, how your family was, how you're coping with the pandemic, etc., how things are.
Oh, you're taking me for a social person.
Well, we pretend. We have to put that pretense on, otherwise people won't realize that we're not human.
Because there's that running joke at the office that my hobbies is like collecting geek shirts, and not like Marvel geek. I literally have data driven. I think I have every Microsoft shirt. I don't think I've bought a shirt in the last 4 years. Since past summer 2016, I haven't had the need to buy a shirt yet.
My wife would say that wasn't a badge of honor. That'd be something you need help with.
I'm pretty sure most people will agree, but the only thing that they should start doing next is, I have enough shirts now. I need more pants. So if the vendors hint and start giving out free pants, that would be great. Thanks. Sweatpants would work as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just convert that into English. He means trousers. I mean, unless you do want more underwear.
No, but isn't trousers underwear?
Trousers are overwear. What do you wear?
Okay, but both works for me.
I mean, you're in South Africa. It's warm there. You might be just out in your pants. Well, what would you call? So we would call, your trousers, your jeans or whatever, that'd be, if that is the equivalent to your pants, what do you wear under your pants?
Remember, I'm Afrikaans.
Yes.
I wear a broek and an onderbroek. It's
Okay.
basically loosely translated. It's pants and underpants.
Okay, yeah. I really thought that actually just meant commando. Yeah, look, I'm Afrikaans. We don't wear anything.
Don't wear anything. You just go with what you can find today. You remember to do washing.
Yeah. Oh well, we're in the lockdown. People only see you if you've got the camera on, and from here down. I mean, underneath here, it's just whatever you want to imagine. A tutu.
I decided to make the investment during lockdown to get myself a proper chair and a proper gaming chair. And wow, these things are comfortable and uncomfortable at the same time. A chair made purely of leather in this weather. Terrible idea. It is warm. This is a hot chair.
So you didn't go with so we got them from work, and they've got mesh, so kind of stuff just flows through. Haven't really noticed.
I have that, but my work chair doesn't sit up straight, and I love to sit up dead straight when I work. And I remember the day we sent our entire team home to say you'll work from home until further notice. Everyone was, okay, can I take my screens with? And I said, yeah, sure. And me and my one friend, we took out chairs. And I was like, what are you guys doing? So, I don't have chairs at home. I don't want to sit on the ground. I'm taking my office chair.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as the pandemic started, we had there was like a web form went up, and you could get a screen and a chair from work, and then they would just deliver it out to you, and within a few days, kind of just the office chair arrived, and they are in the main office, the head office in the UK. They're refurbishing it at the moment, which they were. I mean, I don't know what they're doing now. I presume it's still going on, because there's no one's allowed to work there, as in go in and work. So you might as well just finish the refurbishment, because if you are working on a construction site, you can still go in and work. So we just got all the chairs that are in there kind of just sent out. I mean, I was sick. I did have an office chair that was cheap before, and it broke. It's not because I'm fat. I know what you're thinking.
I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking how uncomfortable it must have been if you were sitting there commando, like you were explaining.
I mean, you imagine all you want. Your imagination is free. And then I got one of the dining room chairs, which is just wooden, and that's just really. And I just put loads of pillows and cushions on it, and it just wasn't that comfortable. Yeah, this is kind of. But I would prefer a standing desk. Just they're a bit of an investment.
Why? Because you don't need a chair.
No, because they're expensive to buy. Standing, the desks that just go up and down on hydraulics.
I haven't seen them yet.
You haven't seen them? So standing desks are the thing to have if you're really cool and hip. So you will.
It sounds a lot like camping, where you pay a fortune to live like a homeless.
It's supposed to be better for you, because if you're just spending all day sitting down, it's just it's not great for your posture. So the idea is that you will stand, you'll sit and stand, and you're then moving around a lot more. But you have a little button under the desk, and then the whole desk rises up, and then you would stand and work at it, and then when you want to sit down, you just.
I do prefer standing and working at our office. I have my desk, and right next to my desk is like a very high meeting desk. It's a weird concept, but no one uses it. So I normally just go and stand there and work when I need to get away from my desk.
You see,
Which is literally, I can still touch my actual desk, I think.
yeah. So effectively, you've got both. It's just one desk that then does both those jobs.
Oh, that's cool.
Did you not? Okay. There seem to be people. I mean, they're a good few £100 to buy, and I don't know kind of the size, but someone was showing them off, and you just press a button, the whole thing rises up. It's very impressive.
I think my focus is more towards getting a quality generator. Having power is more important.
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, if you during load shedding, you wouldn't be able to change the height of the desk.
I'm sitting.
Yeah. I've got to sit for the next 2.5 hours. So is that at night, the load shedding? I know we're going back to load shedding, but it was just interesting. Look, some people have put some interesting comments in. So seems to be Table Mountain is folding mountain, like the Himalayas. Seems to be rising. And hydraulic desks are also great for your fitness. Because you have to flex and get up and down more.
Oh, so that's good for you, apparently.
Yeah.
According to social media.
Well, according to people on YouTube, and they are the most important people in the world.
It is definitely. So
can you? Oh, are you? If you got another screen, you could put YouTube on, and then you could see what was happening.
No, it's okay. I'll leave the important stuff to you.
Oh, what, reading stuff out? Daniel's just said that the load shedding happens at random times during the day, and it's worse when you're about to go to work.
Oh yes, because all traffic lights and also goes off. And I live about 75 kilometers away from my office, so if all traffic lights goes off, it takes you some time to get there. It takes some time.
Sounds like a nightmare. Can they not control what goes to their domestic properties and what goes to like essentials like traffic lights?
You're asking for a lot. We're struggling to keep the power on now. You want us to separate where it goes.
I mean, I've seen Die Hard 1. They can close down just a single building.
That's the movies.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a documentary. I'm sure Detective John McClane was real. No?
I don't think I've watched Die Hard 1. No, I'm just joking.
No, but I don't know. Now I don't know if you're joking because of the look on my face. Now you're worried. You think you're strange because you haven't seen. I made my wife watch Die Hard, because it's a Christmas movie.
I watched what's that? The time travel movies. Oh, come on, why can't I remember? Dr. Marty or Dr.
Are you thinking of Back to the Future?
Back to the Future. I watched that for the first time 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. That is awesome.
Yeah, you've probably got a backlog of movies you probably need to catch up. There's a whole kind of 1990s, the rest of the 1980s. There's a load of whole good stuff in 1990s. You've only saw Back to the Future 1?
No, 1, 2, and 3. 1 was brilliant. I didn't know. You actually didn't. I didn't even know I was watching a movie that old because it was very well done. Number 2 wasn't impressive. Number 3 was awesome.
Yeah, 2's a bit of a, I don't know, sort of. The odd thing is they made 2 and 3. It was one of the first films. King of trivia of absolute nonsense crap. It was one of the first films they made 2 and 3 at the same time, back to back. So
1 and 3.
2 and 3.
Oh.
So normally they would make kind of films and they do the sequels over period and then they make them over a number of years. They'd make all the sequels, and they'd have gaps, but actually film them back to back. So then they would release them then separately. The way they did Lord of the Rings and the other films that came along afterwards.
Yes, I have watched Lord of the Rings before you ask.
No. Was it? Sorry. Have you seen Game of Thrones? So that's a really obscure reference that no one will get. But yeah. So Back to the Future. So I always thought it was really weird that Back to the Future 2 just never seemed to be that good. And really, the time travel stuff doesn't make any sense. They break their time travel thing with the kind of by going by breaking the past, and then going back to it. It's more of a kind of a multi-dimensional thing, and they kind of it breaks its own thing. And
Yeah, I don't think you should overthink time travel movies.
no, you have to. No,
Yeah, but if once you start overthinking, you're going down a rabbit hole. I spent weeks on YouTube on all the different theories on all these different time travel movies.
yeah, but
I don't.
I think the key is as long as it's consistent within its own universe, then it should be fine. But when it starts breaking its own rules, then that doesn't. Because in the first movie, which is so you watched Back to the Future 1 the first time a few weeks ago. Did you think it was a family friendly film?
I feel like this is a trick question because yes, it, but I don't know. I wake up super early in the mornings. Like normally, I'm up between 2 and 3:30 in the mornings, and then I sometimes watch a movie, and that's when I started watching that.
Well, it's a PG, but essentially it's a film about someone um who's who's
Ducting
going
a
to
minor.
a thing with his mum.
Oh yes. Oh, that was close. Hmm.
So there's kind of that's a bit. There's a really good documentary I think called Back in Time or something. Uh, about Back to the Future and how they found it quite difficult. Disney didn't want to touch it. But it's yeah, but it's all that stuff is all sort of you don't really think about it when you're watching the film, but there's a you sort of that's a bit oh no that's not right. And did you notice not that I've seen that film quite a few times, but you did notice that Huey Lewis was in it, the guy who sings "The Power of Love" and "Hip to Be Square."
I don't know who that is.
So you know the song that Marty McFly sings.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
You know,
Yeah.
And I think "Power of Love" is played during it, and there's another couple of Huey Lewis songs. When he's doing the audition for the band for the Under the Sea thing with his band, the guy who says "You're just too darn loud" is Huey Lewis.
Oh.
From the band, the guy who wrote those
Yes,
songs.
yes. Okay.
And they also changed Jennifer between the first and second the films. It's a different Jennifer, so his girlfriend changes, and there's that whole thing about Crispin Glover. They change him.
I need to go and rewatch it now. I did not notice the change. And I watched it back to back, so
well, unless you're looking for it. So it was on Amazon Prime a while ago. I don't know if it's still on there, but it was a Back to the Future documentary. I was in Seattle last year for Microsoft conference there, and one of the guys from Microsoft had a DeLorean out, kind of in downtown Seattle. Right, the amount of people that are just there taking pictures of it because he's got it sort of mocked up to look a bit like the car, with kind of out of time number plate and stuff. It was,
that's quite cool.
Yeah, sorry, that's just a geek rabbit hole of you just touched on something that I obsess about because we all want to be Marty McFly.
one of the my colleagues keep on making these Back to the Future references and everything we do. So I had to just go and watch the damn thing. And so I can't believe I waited that long before I watched it.
Right. And so I didn't know this at the time. So I didn't get this at all. You know, Biff says, make like a tree and get out of town.
Yes.
Right. That's wrong. The term is make like a tree and leave. But he gets it wrong and says get out of town, which makes no sense. And so I could not work out what he meant until someone like many, many years later explained it. Make like a tree and leave. As in leaves from trees. I had no idea that's what he meant. So there's all sorts of other levels of stuff that I didn't get. And Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers is in there. No? Oh, come on. You must have seen Flea. No?
I really need to go and rewatch that movie now.
You know what, people? Right. We're gonna trail off. We're gonna try and loop back the conversation into something a bit more sensible. But we're not going to do this. But I've seen people do this where they watch a film. Several people watch a film, and then what they do is they do comment, like a director's commentary of it live on YouTube. So they're not streaming the film, but they're just streaming their comments. Maybe the film like in a little thing so people know what they're doing. So what they do is they all start at like 7 p.m. at a certain time. Everyone starts the film and then someone like does a bit of narration on it.
Oh, that sounds like an
says,
interesting concept.
This bit here, this is what they're doing here, and this bit here. But because of the pandemic, people are just doing it online.
That can actually work.
So, I mean,
it's not as cool as live coding.
Yeah. So you mentioned that before. Live coding is scary, but I've heard of it before and kind of seen it, but I think it's a bit more boring than you think. It's not as seat of your pants as it might sound.
I tried to watch, and I'm not one of the. I don't enjoy watching other people code, but I was trying to think about it. If people watch me code, they'll actually just watch me Google.
Watching Google. Oh, that's certainly something that we want to pay for.
Just to showcase my mad search engine skills, because all you need to know is the concept of you can do that in SQL. Okay, he did it. Okay, copy paste, change. That doesn't work. Search that error. Okay, copy paste.
Right. You might be joking, but actually, showing people how to use Google and some of the hidden keywords and stuff that you can do, and the way you can do ands, and the way you can do cite. You can do cite : and then get it to search a particular website.
Yes.
Yeah. I bet people don't do that. Okay, so Daniel's just said that he's seen someone else do that live, kind of reviewing, going back to do like a live director's commentary. So it's been done, but people could set it up. Sorry, okay. I've distracted you from your live Googling. Live Googling. That would make sense, wouldn't? But yeah, but I bet you've done live coding, and you have done live coding. I have seen you live code, but for a small audience.
Okay, so if you take that as the live coding, yes, then okay.
Because you would do, it's a collaborative. It's like extreme programming, but not sitting next to extreme programming or pair programming. We have two people and they're working with one keyboard and one screen, and then they both bounce ideas off each other and write code.
Yeah, as long as they don't touch my keyboard.
Okay, that sounds okay. But so this is more of a virtual version where you can work with them and they can suggest stuff. and oh, put this first, or you've done this, or you know, there's nothing more annoying than you're live coding or you're coding with a group of people when you're sharing your screen and they're going, no, it's line 7. No, you're on line, no, lower down, lower, no, it's lower, no, up a bit. No, click there, no, not there, the other place.
I know that feeling. When you have this idea or concept that you want to quickly get the code done, and I misspelled this, I misspelled that. Doesn't matter right now. Just want to get the shell completed. I'll go back and fix that. And halfway through, it's going to fail there. It's going to fail there. So, I've got this. Just let me finish my shell first. And if it fails, then you can go, no, there. That's fine. But as long as I haven't executed it, it means I still know that there's stuff wrong, I think.
I forgot to mention this to Buck Woody, but one of his and I've actually used this. One of his techniques for when he's coding and doing a demo on screen, in a presentation, and he's showing something run, and if it fails, you don't go, oh God, it failed. What do I do now? And you don't look at the code. You don't try and fix it. You go to the audience, go, what did I do there? What did I do wrong there? And then it's on the audience. They're the ones who have to tell you why you didn't do it right. Because then it looks like a deliberate error.
That is very good. It's sort of like that when you're presenting a session and afterwards someone asks you a question and they ask you a question and say, you honestly do not know the answer. And I know the right thing is, great question. I'll come back to you. Give me your details. Or the quicker one is, awesome question. Next question, please.
When I did in person and remote presentations, I would have this jargon buster at the very beginning, and one of them was, that's a great question, means I've got the answer on my next slide. Because therefore, and we'll take that offline means I've got no idea what you're talking about, but I'm going to Google it and then I'll get back to you. Because that's what it means, isn't it? I mean, that's all someone is going to do.
Or what I've also learned is what gets you off quite quickly is when someone asks you a question. So let's say something on Synapse, and then you know what? Or let's say Databricks. If someone asks a question on Azure Databricks, you know what? Go and Google Ginger Grant. She has a great series on that. She'll answer all your questions. I have no clue if she actually covers it, but
and that's a really nice name check. You'll love that.
Just because I've been working quite a lot with Synapse and Databricks. So I've been playing.
Were you in her past session?
Yes.
How was that?
You
have to say it was great because she'll probably.
I have to say it's great.
I'm sorry. That's a little bit unfair, isn't it?
No, it was truly great. There's quite a lot of things that I've actually learned from the summit. And one of the best things is that it's still that you because normally if you go to in person now, the networking and networking there and everything is just awesome. But the virtual one, that I enjoyed about the virtual one is, look, I didn't meet anybody new, so that sort of sucks. But all those sessions are still up, so you can still go and watch them. So I've been watching one every morning. Some of them not that interesting or not focused on what I'm focused on, and others of them are actually awesome.
That's it, right. So you've gone to quite a few past summits, haven't you?
No, this is my third one.
All right. And you attended SQL Saturdays. So from the pandemic point of view, and from a sorry, I just keep getting distracted by the comments. What would be a good way of keeping that social interaction going? Because a delivery of a session is great, and SQL Bits and Data Platform Summit. I don't know if Data Platform Summit is doing the same thing, but the speaker moderated their own session because it was pre-recorded. So when people were watching my session, I could answer questions and add extra kind of bits of flavor of anything I forgot in the session. But it sounds like I'm deliberately adding flavor if you can do it afterwards, and but I can make up for bits that I've missed out or add stuff in. But how do you get that kind of, how do you keep that sort of social interaction?
I think that's a very good, very interesting concept, because I was thinking about it during the summit, and afterwards, only like last week or this week, I saw a blog by, I think it's Kendra Little, some that also was talking about this, the things on how it could have been done better, or what you can do to make virtual conferences better. And one of the concepts is like a chat relate, but not because that can get weird very quickly. But because people could use that for complete wrong thing. But something like that, because it did feel like it lacked the social element a lot. And then I've also noticed a lot of these conferences is not really focused on time zones. Because I had to sit with a time zone calculator next to me the whole time to figure out, okay, so that is 8 o'clock EST. That means it's 3 o'clock my time in the afternoon.
Yeah, I guess. So at the company I work for, Microsoft, they have this thing where they'll do the sessions in Eastern time zone because that's where most stuff is based, and then they'll replay them back in a local time zone. So they'll play them back in a time zone that's good for Europe, and then they'll play it back in a time zone that's good for Asia.
And that's a good approach, because then you cater for multiple ones. Because especially if you just focus on EST, you basically, for me, South Africa, it's making it very difficult. But no, we're not it's not a big audience here in South Africa that attend, so you don't need to cater for that. But there's the Europe and all of that is more aligned to our time zone. So if you just focus on EST, you basically exclude the majority of Europe.
Yeah, yeah. I guess for past summit, I mean they do a lot of stuff to cater for time zones, like 24 hours of pass and things like that. And so it's quite hard. Well, pre-recorded sessions you can broadcast them at any time. It really doesn't matter. It's but could you get the speaker to moderate their own session? You could get people to moderate those sessions in each time zone and broadcast them separately and have a more specific thing for that time zone, that country, people moderating in the correct languages rather than doing it in English. It's kind of, I think it's difficult. I think we're just learning because we're just at the beginning of that curve.
Yes.
Someone pointed something out to me, and it was that most big companies, especially companies with consulting arms, and have a reasonably large travel expenses budget, because people stay in hotels, they work away, they go on training, they need to be there. Well, over the last 8-9 months, that's been saved. So
That's
us going back to the old world where we traveled all the time might change. It might be harder to get the kind of the training stuff done.
Aren't you guys going into another lockdown as well?
We are in another lockdown, and we are coming out of it next week, I think. And then we're going.
Got end dates. That's nice.
Well, it's supposed to come out next. Is it next week? The 3rd, I think it's something like that. Yeah. So next week, and then it sort of goes into a tiered system. So you can have local lockdowns, and I think the plan is then to come out of a relaxed lockdown over Christmas period, the Christmas week. I haven't read the news on it, but I saw a news headline, and then probably go back into a lockdown afterwards, because there's no way we're getting a vaccine in the next month or two. it's going to go out to the people that really need it, and we're low down that list.
Okay. Yeah, we had in our first lockdown that we went into, I think that was end of March. That was, I think a lot of people were very scared and stuff. So, the panic buying all the shops empty, all of that, which sort of sucked because that happened like 3 days before payday for us. So you had to watch everyone else go and buy everything, and you wait for your pay to come in. And then as soon as it came in, so, you can still go do grocery shopping. So really, people, you just bought all the shelves empty now. I have to drive from shop to shop to find bread.
Did they have proper panic buying in well, I can't remember what I was watching. There's no such thing as panic buying. Panic buying is actually looting, because no one buys in a panic. Panic, that's just shopping, isn't it? So were people buying like lots of stuff, or was it more like the UK kind of, there was a thing where like all the pasta and loo roll and HP sauce had all disappeared off the shelves, and it wasn't because people were buying it all, it's because people were buying an extra one. And so everybody that went shopping, you just buy, you wouldn't buy all the loo roll, you just buy an extra one or an extra packet of pasta. And then, but if lots of people are buying extra packets of pasta, then they sell out very quickly.
I think it could be something like that, where everyone went and bought their groceries just before lockdown because they didn't know what would happen. So it seemed like a panic buy, but it was quite a lot of people just buying their groceries a day or week before they would normally, or 2 weeks before they would normally, just to cater for in case. Oh yes, and hand sanitizer. That's something we could not get our hands on.
Yeah. And free range chicken, I think, is that free range chicken or free range? The Daniels put in free range chicken or free range chicken.
Yeah, it's free range chicken.
And from Woolworths, you have a Woolworths.
I thought it originated here.
Oh, we used to have a Woolworths, but it shut down. Was it?
Yeah, that's quite a big chain here, South Africa. It's a upmarket food chain, if you want to call it like that.
I wouldn't have called it. It wasn't an upmarket food chain in the UK. If you went to, you could buy pretty much anything you wanted in a Woolworths. You would go to Woolworths if you wanted to get a 7-inch single, some pick and mix, some toys, a few items of baby clothes. And I can't remember what else I would stock. It's kind of odd. Yeah, maybe shopping in the UK isn't normal. If that's kind of what you would go to there buy. Never mind.
All right. Okay, moving on.
All right, yeah. Okay, all right. 2 more questions. One is the emergency questions from Richard Herring's book. Go out and buy it. I might get a new copy because he's done more books. So pick it, and also who to nominate for my next, to pass this on. So who do you think it'd be quite fun for me to have a conversation with? Oh, come on, you've seen... Do you know what? All right. Before you go back and answer that, I'm going to ask you another question. What was your favourite Geeks on Screens episode from season 1?
From season 1, the Bob Ward.
Bob was season 2.
Okay, this is where it gets awkward.
So I keep playing the cricket sound effects in the background. Hopefully they're coming through. All right. Pick a number between 1 and 1001.
667.
I think we've had 667. Let me just check. 667. No, that's not a good one. 667. I don't know. Let's try it.
Shoot me.
It's appropriate.
Not literally.
It's appropriate. Do you know? When people ask a question, there's a sort of a term of, right, someone asks a question, you go shoot. Can I ask you a question? Shoot. And you go say shoot because you want them to deliver the question. You don't actually want them to shoot. But I felt a bit odd saying that to someone in America. Because I thought, do they think that I actually mean shoot, or do they think that I mean shoot, go ahead?
But shoot can also reference if it's more of a urban slang from oh crap.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Yes,
Uh-huh.
I think maybe the way I was saying it, hopefully didn't. It wasn't that. It's just like, go ahead, shoot. Sorry, I just got distracted by myself, which happens all the time. I had to explain there's a term in the UK for, and I can't remember why this came up, buttering someone up, which basically means being nice to them.
Softening them up because you're going to hit them with a hard blow soon.
Yeah.
Or you need them for something.
Yes, yeah. So you compliment them, you butter them up. I had to try to explain that to someone in the US, and it didn't travel. It didn't travel at all. Why have you got a butter on? Never mind. Okay. Do you think you would have made a good sheriff in the Wild West?
Maybe a good bad guy, but not a good sheriff. I'm good at finding loopholes, not finding trouble.
I mean, there's a series on Amazon, I think it's Amazon, called, I forgot what it's called now. It's got Timothy Oliphant in as a sheriff, as a marshal. That's it. And he's constantly finding loopholes to try and put people in prison and get round things.
But that would just make me a dirty sheriff.
With good intentions?
Let's go with that then. Good intentions. I like that idea.
So you think you would be a good dirty sheriff with good intentions?
Yes, in a nutshell.
Right.
Because the nice thing about the difference between being a bad guy and a sheriff is being a sheriff, you actually get your ammunition from the state. I'm not exactly sure how it worked in the Wild West, or from the town. You don't pay for it yourself. Where a bad guy, you either have to buy it or steal it. And stealing ammunition doesn't sound like a good idea.
No, it doesn't. But I guess if you killed someone, you could take their ammunition. But yeah, sorry. I have no experience of that. Let's just confirm that it's not something that I'm aware of or know how to do. But if you were playing Fortnite or a game like that, one of the ways of actually getting lots of equipment is if you kill someone, you get all their equipment.
I've been playing that PUBG on my phone a lot.
What game?
PUBG, Player Unknown Battle Underground or something. I think it's a lot like Fortnite, I think.
Ooh. Okay, no. Do you need a good phone for that?
I don't know. I've got an awesome fancy spy phone. A Huawei a Huawei.
Oh, I had a Huawei. I didn't find. I didn't get too many problems.
No, I've never had a problem. This is my second or third one.
Yeah, I mean they're cheap.
I enjoy the phone.
They work. I mean, I wouldn't put what's the apps on it? The ones that do track you. It's the apps that track you.
WeChat.
Yes, WeChat, and there's another one, which is the Chinese version of Facebook. Can't remember what it's called.
I don't know. I'm bad at social media. I've been trying to to shamelessly, or like I told you earlier, I was trying to shamelessly advertise my Twitter handle here, and then OBS just screwed me over by turning everything gray and flipping the picture around, and it was just a big mess. So decided,
So in OBS, if you right click on the source, go to filter, you can switch it around.
I'll play a bit, because if I recorded the video, it was fine. But if I made it a virtual webcam, it flipped everything around. So, and I remember reading something about the virtual webcam being buggy. So,
Okay. I mean, that's what you're looking at yourself on, is the virtual webcam. Obviously, people can't see this, so this is kind of bit tedious conversation for them, but I don't care. We got 19 people watching. That's quite a good number for live watching just on YouTube. There's always a few on Facebook and Twitter. All right, final question. Sorry. Just gonna. So I'm gonna wreck the illusion now. You can't see. Oh, you might be able to see this. Is the
it looks like a happy dog.
She wanted to get in on the conversation. Right, I'm gonna put that back and wreck everything because it's gonna be in the wrong position. All the lighting is not too bad. All right. So, final question: who to nominate for the next call? Not next call, but for season 4. Season 4, yes, season 4.
I don't know a lot of people.
Of course you do. You know Gail. You know other people in South Africa. You must know other speakers. People go to your user group.
Yeah, just because they're forced to. I take hostages. So mine because I saw you already got Gail coming up next week, the week after next, don't you?
Yes. I could reach out to the screen, but no.
No, it's fine. Okay, then I need someone to correct everything that I just said about South Africa. Someone that actually knows something. Michael Johnson. He actually can correct. He would be able to correct everything that I just misinterpreted. He's an English guy in South Africa, so.
Oh yeah, but all right. He'll give a terrible view of England though, about how great South Africa is and how terrible stuff is. All right, Michael Johnson. Yeah. If you just do the introductions on Twitter, then kind of that saves me having to contact him and tell him that I'm not a serial killer. That this is actually a real thing. I'm not pretending. Don't need any money from him.
We can't see who's on here. Participant. Oh no. I thought it might be in the chat.
No, clearly, either he's been watching and hasn't commented, or he's been or clearly your persuasion to get him to watch didn't work, and you need to work on your manipulation skills.
Hey, it worked for Buck. So.
Yes. Oh well, I mean, yes. I mean, Buck is a force of nature, and yeah, you can't stop the Buck.
No, you can't. It was a good show. You almost had control for a second there.
I think I had the illusion of control for longer than, and then you just sit back and go, yeah, fine. Yeah, no, I can't control any of this, you know. And I felt awkward, like I almost interrupting him with questions. Oh, JP, it's been wonderful to speak to you. And we'll catch up again soon. And thank you all for watching, and thank you all for putting stuff in the chat. And remember to give JP a hard time tomorrow morning at work. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Love you.